And I think that either you're growing or you're dying. If you're trying to stay in the same spot and maintain, it's the beginning of the end of greatness.
Jordan Belfort believes that people are not at their best always because they can't manage their state of mind. They let fear or stress cause them to be distracted or paralyzed. This leads them to being fearful of the future and just angry. He knows that life isn't predictable and we can't control everything. And because of this, people are willing to talk themselves out of their dreams. Jordan knows that this narrative that we tell ourselves is a lie.
I'm the only one who over the long term has been paying back investors.
And if we can manage our state of mind, we can push ourselves to a life we really want. Jordan wasn't always a confident person. Growing up, he felt the same insecurities that most of us do. He had no clear vision for himself and struggled with his identity. He believes that once people find their goal and they begin to work for it.
So the key to success is not just to have your vision, but to be able to manage the way you feel in the moment.
Self-confidence starts to appear in their life. We can push our happiness to the side and make excuses for why we aren't happy in our current state, when in reality, we should find happiness where we are no matter what level of success we have risen to, because no thing or level of success will help you find that true peace or happiness. Jordan visualizes his success, projecting himself into the future to see where he wants to get to. He doesn't let excuses get in the way of that.
I will tell you this, there is no more destructive belief in the world than to think that life happens to you.
Always grounding himself in the truth of who he is and where he wants to get to, not letting his insecurities or fear stop him from achieving success. Jordan knows that he has power because of how he approaches conversations. His natural salesmanship allows him to find a way with people that most can't. He believes that people who don't have this natural ability can present themselves just as he does, but they have to follow these steps in every conversation they're a part of.
The prospect in his heart of hearts.
In the first 4 seconds of every conversation, he says, you must do these 3 things to be successful. Number 1, be sharp as a tack. Show them you have intelligence. Number 2, be enthusiastic as hell. Show people that you are excited about what you are talking about, but not fake enthusiasm, but a bottled enthusiasm that they see in you and they want it. And 3, you must be perceived as an expert in your field.
The things that you thought would make you happy, you check a box and wait a second.
Show them what you're talking about. People want to go with someone who has experience and knows the ins and outs of what they're talking about. This perception sets you apart and instills trust in the people you're talking to. Jordan believes that once we find a true inner happiness and can relate to people in the way that shows confidence, we can then begin to achieve greater success and find a new way of living.
You know, I was already at the point where I knew I would never, ever do anything again that was even in the gray. I knew in my heart.
Now close your eyes for a second and imagine where you're gonna be in 1 year from now. See yourself in the picture. 1 year from now, guys, I'm gonna be giving you some distinctions tonight that are really gonna help you make more money, but just see yourself with a great life, living the exact life you want, working your tail off and loving it. Follow this for a second. We're calling the same leads, selling the same stock, same script. I'm closing 50% or better. And after 4 weeks, 12 guys hadn't closed one sale. It was driving me batty. I couldn't understand it, right? So we would do these marathon training sessions. And just so you know, I'm a big believer in, I live every single day. When I'm running a sales force, every morning I'm in their ear giving a meeting. By the time they made it into the boardroom when I was starting, they'd been conditioned to survive. 1 means they think your product is the biggest piece of crap in the world. They're absolutely uncertain. A 10 means it's the best thing since sliced bread. Your goal as you move someone down the straight line, you want to get them to a 10, as close to a 10 as possible.
Ambition, passion, disempowering states for business, overwhelm, uncertainty, fear. Those things destroy you. Now, we can't manage our state all the time. You're not a robot. You know, I try this, pretty good at this, but believe me, I fall out of state all the time. But that skill, that in the moment when it matters, when it really comes down to it, can you manage your state? Or do you spend the bulk of your time in disempowered states, feeling overwhelmed, fearful of the future, pissed off, angry? Give yourself a 10 if you feel like that all the time, and a 1 if you never feel like that. And by the way, just so you know, the real problem, as you're writing, the real problem with this is that we live in a world, and excuse my French here, we live in a world where shit happens. We do, right? You're walking along doing everything right, and bam, you get hit with a lump of it between the eyes. And at that point in time, you take that punch, that's when state management really matters. Because what most people do is when they take that punch, they try to make sense of it all, so they start telling themselves a story. They'll tell themselves a story of why they can have what they want, and so on and so forth, when in truth, what stops people from getting what they want, because that story stops them from getting honest. This is about honesty, to see things as they are right now in your life, but not worse than they are.
Like most of us, we struggled with those things when we were teenagers. Me too. I was a science geek. I was going to be a doctor. I
biology
scored
major.
perfect. biochem. I scored perfect on my MCATs. And so I go into my adulthood with like these insecurities and saying, you know what? But once I get rich and I get powerful, then I'll feel good. So while you're out there striving for success and clawing for it, even though you feel insecure a lot and you don't feel like you're really comfortable in your own skin, I know why. It's because I don't have success yet. But then you achieve massive success and you get everything that you always wanted. I still feel the same way inside. What do I do now? And that's what you see happen, not just on Wall Street, but in Hollywood.
Here's the deal. The magic moment was when I looked at my 12 schmendricks, as the phrase goes. They were so disheartened over what was going on. They were disheartened. They couldn't close rich people. I could, Danny could. And I realized in this one moment that I had a certain way of speaking. At the heart of all influence, once you learn to control the linguistic encounter, you will be shocked. When you're in control, you're asking very smart questions, and it's the prospect that's doing the talking. You're gathering intelligence. But in those first few seconds, when you open up your mouth, you don't establish 3 things. Let me tell you what they are. You got 4 seconds of a conversation. You got to establish, number 1, that you are sharp as a tack. Sharp as a tack. Got to come out right away. Number 2, that you're enthusiastic as hell. Enthusiastic as hell. And number 3, and I said it before, and I'm going to say it 10 more times, and I'll make you say it out loud, you got to be perceived as an expert in your field.